I'm here with Neil. Where's Karen?
She's at work, unfortunately.
Oh, she's at work, okay.
Yes, yeah.
So you are the man behind all this?
I am, yes.
Oh,
She comes
wonderful.
down and gets down on the hands and knees and weeds with us every now and then. But,
You do all the high work.
I do all the high
the
work,
heavy
yeah.
work, lifting and all that.
Yes.
Now, I've had a quick look around. They're all beautiful plots, but yours is almost central to the whole garden.
It is,
And
I
it
think.
is a feature in itself, isn't it? Are you the only one with an espaliered, or would you call that an espaliered grape?
Great. Oh, yes, yeah. Yeah, well,
That is impressive.
Yeah, I've done it that way. I've got a couple at home as well, which I've done in a similar manner. So I'm just experimenting with the grapes at the moment.
Well, it's actually,
But,
I just noticed in there, there's your main runner there,
That's
your
right,
leader,
yes, yeah.
to the one side.
Yeah.
You could allow yourself another post on this side, couldn't you?
Well, with the size that they grow, I certainly could.
Yes, you can. You could almost, this is my imagination running wild here, Neil. I would imagine putting it all the way
All the way
around and
down.
creating a fence line so nobody can get in, but then they'd eat all your grapes.
They probably would too. They probably would.
Well, tell me about your plant. Run us through the whole process of what you've done here.
Well, what I've tried to do is because it's a large plot,
Yeah.
it's fairly difficult to maintain all the time.
Yeah.
I've broken it up into the 8 sections
Okay.
along here, which are basically 2 metres by 2 metres, and then a 1 metre long section just along the end there. And I've done that so that, if it gets overrun and everything, I can just come and work on one patch at a time.
Yeah, and that sort of gives you the dynamics of it. Say, okay, I'm working here. You don't lose yourself in the whole plot.
That's exactly right, yeah. And I'll eventually have a path down the middle there, so that then I can work that side of the plots
Yep.
from the inside, and then the outsides from the outside.
So you got
I'm
them
not walking across
through
and
to
compacting
trying to
everything
so
all
you
the
can
time.
walk around and enter it.
Yeah.
How long have you been here?
I've been in the garden about 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've always gardened at home?
Yeah, I have really. I love the garden. I suppose it might be a bit of a throwback from some of my uncles who were market gardeners in Newcastle.
Okay, yep.
And they grew gladioli and carnations mostly for all the florists up around the area.
Whether it's edible or flowering, it's still gardening.
Absolutely, yeah. And my mum and dad, they always loved the garden and everything, and I've just sort of taken on from
Well,
there.
if you go back a few generations, I think everybody was gardening. I mean, that was the way of life.
Well, it was,
And feeding off it. And you get an abundance of produce here, no doubt.
Yeah, well, I actually get more than what I'm eating it, so I'm a member of the Heighton Bowls Club, so I feed a lot of the guys up there.
They must love you turning up with bags full of
Well, I
goodies.
do. I turn up with some rhubarb and whatever else is
Whatever's
going at the
in
time.
season.
Yeah, beetroots and whatever.
So what are you planning to plant now?
Well, I'm going to be getting ready for the cauliflowers and broccolis and things like that.
Yep.
I'll still have the carrots. Got two lots of carrots in there. There's a new lot over here.
Yep.
Doing a last lot of dwarf beans just here.
Nice.
Should get a crop on those. They're just starting to get the beans on them now. So
That's really cool. You know what it is? I'm almost embarrassed to talk about my garden now because everybody here is doing so well. You've got beautiful produce and the environment. Today's a perfect day, no doubt.
Beautiful day today, yeah.
But it's controlled. You don't have a lot of crosswinds, do you? I doubt you would get the high winds.
With having the trees around the boundary, it sort of does tend to shelter it in here, which is
And your
good.
neighbour too, who's got maybe some
They have
taller
some
plants.
shade mesh up and other plants and things like that, which is good.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to do also is I had some finer mesh in there, and I had some cucumbers growing up that.
Yeah, I could see the last of it there.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. So
Did it work?
yeah, it did. Yeah, I had it there last year when the grape was only just put in.
Yeah.
And it just sort of got left there for this year. And I've got some at home, and I'm doing the cucumbers at home vertically as well. But anything that's in a vine form, I'm trying to grow vertically so that I can plant more produce.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the space that it would have just taken
I
up.
love
laying
that
over the
idea.
ground.
That's something that I'm going to actually try at home.
Yeah. So and another example as well is not that they're
Oh, look at
vines or
this.
anything,
No,
but
come over.
but I've got this-
I totally missed all this. Strawberries.
Yeah, so I've had those racks made up. I originally had some 90mm stormwater pipe, but it just wasn't big enough. So
Along there? Yeah, for the root system.
Yeah,
Yes,
so I've
that's been
changed
done.
that. Yeah, so I've changed that to something that's a little bit,
Sturdy.
and
able to take a bit more root zone in it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, because obviously the strawberries have everything from 100 to 300mm
In depth.
root zone in them.
You've done some research here, haven't you?
Well, it's just all my own ideas now, but the strawberries are coming along quite well, you know.
Can I? May I?
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
So, and then of course underneath, not that these are vines as such, but underneath I've just grown the rhubarb at ground level there. So rather than having soda in, have another one.
It's so nice to meet you, but I've got to go to a St Patrick's Day concert at 1 o'clock.
All right, buddy.
So
You take care.
all my plot partners down there.
She'll be there. I'll talk to her. You take care.
Thanks.
Thank
too.
you.
Lovely
They
to
had to,
meet you.
they had to die for.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
No,
They
we've
are
got, my granddaughter comes up here and she loves coming up. But the first thing she goes for are the strawberries. Or the cherry tomatoes.
Good on her.
So,
And
yeah.
that's the joys of it, isn't it? When you bring the young ones here and they can experience it and enjoy straight from the
She
garden.
wouldn't eat a tomato.
She wouldn't?
The first time she came up here, we were walking around, and Sophia over here had some of the yellow cherry tomatoes.
Yeah.
So her mother picked one of those off and gave it to her.
Yeah.
And she loved it. And then we come around here and she had to have one of Pa's tiny little red
So
cherry tomatoes. And
she
since then,
She hasn't turned back. She hasn't turned away
she
from it.
would not eat a tomato up until that time.
How old is she?
3.5.
Oh, that's fantastic. My
So-
daughter's 22 or 21, I think. Actually 21, and I still can't convince her to eat a tomato.
Yeah, well, maybe
She'll
she-
squeeze a tomato sauce all over it. Are you
Yeah.
listening? All over her food or whatever, but she won't eat a tomato.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
funny about that, but that's fantastic to hear that the young one's actually
Oh.
taken a liking to it because it's grown from your own garden.
Yeah, and she
Yeah.
just loves coming up here as well and just running around the garden and that, and obviously picking, Pa's strawberries and tomatoes and things
Just
like that.
coming in here, having a look around, and you'd see the variety, the vast variety of plants you have here with all the plot holders. It's just overwhelming. It's so relaxing, calming, and you get to meet people who are like-minded.
Well, we're also learning off. We've got a few Chinese members in the garden here as well, and they grow stuff that I've never even seen
Yeah,
before. Obviously,
yeah.
it's typical to what
To their culture is.
To their culture, yeah.
And you share that, and you learn all about that, and obviously they see what you're doing, and they can give you some great tips too, because they are amazing
Oh,
gardeners.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, they're corn this year. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're getting 3 or 4 cobs off the one plant.
Really?
And I got 2 if I was lucky this year. I didn't have a very good season with the corn, but yet some of the others around here had fabulous corn.
Yeah, and it's a hit and miss, obviously, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll be better at one thing than another, and the others are the same, but likewise. So
But,
caring and sharing, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure.
No,
Keep
pleasure
up the
meeting you
great
too.
work.
Thank you very much, yes.
And enjoy your produce that comes out of your little plot there. Well, it's not little, actually. It's quite large.
They are large plots.
Yeah.
They do take a fair bit of maintaining and that, but
Worth every cent of time.
as I said, I did 9 years in the army as well, and I like everything to be in a more regimented format, and you can see that there as well.
Yes,
so,
I can see that. There's order there, complete
yeah.
good order.
But it does make it easier, as I said, working just a plot at a time.
Please tell me you don't pull out a tape measure to space out your plants.
No.
It's all
I just do that by eye.
Calibrated eye. Love it.
Well, I'm a plumber by trade too, so everything level and everything perpendicular as well. You know what I mean? So,
I get that now. That makes sense. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
all right, good on you. Thanks very much.